The internet loves flashy businesses with swing for the fences upside. Meanwhile, the people who actually end up wealthy tend to be the ones who bought a pressure washer, learned route density, hired politely, and sent invoices on time. It isn't sexy, it's systems. In a world obsessed with viral startups, the quiet millionaire is more likely to own a cluster of laundromats, a commercial cleaning company, a pool service route, or a tiny logistics shop that moves boring boxes from A to B every day without drama. The hook in this episode is right there in the title, Boring Businesses That Always Make Millionaires. And the first honest sentence is this: nothing always makes millionaires, and no legitimate business offers a real 90% success rate. Those are marketing words. Real life runs on probabilities. But the reason that headline works is because certain business models, executed the boring way for long enough, push the odds in your favor so hard that your household starts to feel like it's playing a different game. This is the playbook for those businesses: what they are, why they work, how to choose, how to price, how to hire, how to finance, how to survive the first year, how to scale to 7 figures in owner earnings, and how to exit without drama. Begin by ditching the idea that boring means low ambition. In business, boring means repeatable demand, short sales cycles, cash flow that matches the calendar, and operations you can turn into checklists. Boring means that if you disappear for a weekend, the machine still runs. Boring means the customer buys because it solves a pain, not because your brand posted a poem. When you scan the landscape with that lens, a set of categories pop into focus. Residential services like lawn care, landscaping, pest control, pressure washing, window cleaning, pool maintenance, and house cleaning. Trades like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, garage doors, and appliance repair. Commercial cleaning and janitorial for offices and medical. Property and facility services like parking lot striping, sweeping, porter service, and snow removal. Small format retail assets like laundromats, vending, car washes, and ice vending. Logistics such as final mile delivery, hotshot trucking, and small warehousing. Recurring B2B services like document shredding, uniforms and linens, and specialty sanitation. And light professional services like bookkeeping, payroll, and back office support for other boring companies. You don't need all of them. You need one lane where your town is underserved, your temperament fits the work, and the unit economics smile when you run the math without hope. Why these lanes? Because they share 4 properties that compound quietly: recurring revenue, low customer concentration, straightforward marketing, and the ability to systematize. A pool route with 220 accounts does not collapse if one customer moves. A janitorial contract that turns monthly and renews for years gives you revenue you can borrow against to buy equipment or a tuck-in competitor. A vending route inside a handful of dependable locations produces cash that arrives even when you're at a kid's soccer game. Marketing is practical instead of mystical. Google local services, direct response mailers, yard signs near jobs, a simple website with service pages that match the phrases people actually type, and a phone that gets answered during business hours by a human who schedules instead of philosophizes. Systematization is where the wealth hides. Standard operating procedures, checklists, route planning, inventory par levels, quality control audits, and a dashboard that turns noise into a simple morning glance. The magic trick is that none of this requires genius. It requires boredom and dignity applied on a schedule. Let's get out of the clouds and into a human-sized blueprint. The path to a quiet fortune in a boring business is a string of precise questions asked in the right order. First, where is the durable pain? Not the fashionable pain, not the glamorous pain. What do people in your zip codes complain about every single week that a service can remove? Grass grows, filters clog, offices get dirty, trucks need washing, bins need cleaning, gutters fill, sidewalks go slick, storefronts fog, documents pile up. Durable pain is the ground you build on. Second, can I verify demand and price without guessing? Call 10 competitors as a mystery shopper. Ask turnaround time, price bands, minimums, and whether they're accepting new clients. Read every review in your area for that service, and list what customers praise and what they hate. Third, what is the simplest version of this service that I can deliver with excellence inside 30 days? Eliminate add-ons and heroics. Aim at one avatar: busy homeowners in 2 neighborhoods, or dental offices within a 5-mile radius, or warehouse managers at small distributors, and build a script that solves their specific Tuesday. Pricing is where most beginners lose years. They think low price wins. It does if you want to win the job and lose the business. In boring businesses, you compete on speed, reliability, and the relief customers feel when someone shows up, does what they promised, communicates, and leaves the place clean. Price is an output of your unit economics. Labor hours times wage plus burdens, materials, truck and equipment depreciation, fuel, overhead like phones and software, plus a profit margin that pays you to exist and grow. You set a floor price that never lets you sell at a loss, a target price that reflects your value, and a scripted minimum that prevents your day from being sliced into a dozen money-losing tiny jobs. You deliver your price with confidence because you know the math and you've rehearsed the line, "We're not the cheapest, we're the last call you make." When you quote, you use anchors, a good, better, best if appropriate, or a simple monthly versus one-time option where the recurring plan is honestly the better deal for both of you. And you put every price in writing with an expiration date so customers cannot haunt you with ancient quotes when your costs change. Marketing in these lanes is pragmatic. Search beats social because intent beats attention. You register with Google Business Profile, seed it with photos of real work, collect reviews after every job with a link that takes 5 seconds to tap, and watch your map pack ranking climb. You build service pages that match gutter cleaning, sweeping, commercial cleaning, and you answer the questions people actually ask. How fast? How much? What's included? What should I prep? Who shows up? How do I pay? You run local services ads or a small budget of search ads on the exact services that have good gross margin. You create a one-page flyer and a friendly door hanger and work the blocks around each job. You call property managers, office managers, and facility coordinators with a sentence that respects their time. We do X for Y type of property. Our crews are insured. Here are 2 names you can call in town. Can I quote your location with a trial month? You stop chasing vanity metrics and count booked jobs, average ticket, close rate, and reactivation of past customers. Boring businesses win where phones are answered, quotes go out the same day, and someone follows up kindly with "just checking in" while everyone else is posting brand manifestos. Hiring is the part that scares people until they create a culture on purpose. Trades and services are full of skilled, decent people who are treated like ghosts by owners who only text when something is wrong. If you want crews who stay, design the job like a human. Pay on time, every time. Publish a simple route and schedule so people can plan their lives. Train with checklists, not vibes. Give field leads a clear ladder: apprentice, technician, lead, trainer, manager. Offer modest, achievable bonuses tied to things that matter: on-time starts, 0 callbacks, 5-star reviews that mention their name. Provide decent gear and replace worn-out equipment without drama. Hold a quick huddle at the same time each week and let people ask for what they need to do the job cleanly. Hire for attitude and train for skill where you can. Partner with trade schools for skilled roles where you must. Fire kindly but quickly when people violate safety or integrity. Your reputation as an employer becomes your talent pipeline. Every boring millionaire I know can tell you the names of the techs who made the first good year possible. Those techs stayed because the owner acted like a calm adult who valued their time and dignity. Finance and structure are simpler than you fear and more exacting than the gurus admit. For acquisitions of small routes or laundromats or car washes, an SBA 7A loan can be the bridge when the numbers pencil out and the seller is willing to hold a note for a portion. For equipment-heavy services, vendor financing and equipment lenders exist, but you should pair debt with signed contracts or recurring accounts so your payments have a home. For a startup, avoid drowning yourself in fixed overhead. Buy used but commercial-grade gear at first, know the maintenance intervals, stock common parts, and keep your repair relationships warm before you need them. Insure like a grown-up: general liability, commercial auto, workers' comp, and umbrella. Open a business checking account, get a bookkeeping system from day one, separate business and personal spend, and pay yourself something, even if small, on a schedule, so the business learns to feed the household. That discipline alone forces you to price properly, because if your model only works when you skip your own paycheck, it doesn't work. Let's walk through specific, boring businesses and what makes each tick. Imagine commercial cleaning. Offices, medical practices, schools, and small industrial sites need reliable, insured crews who show up after hours and leave spaces hygienic with minimal complaints. The trick is documented scope: what is included nightly, weekly, monthly, plus periodics like floor care and windows at clear add-on rates. Turnover kills quality. Route density saves margins. You win by hiring trustworthy supervisors, auditing sites with checklists and photos, and building a schedule that keeps travel time low. You price per square foot adjusted by use case, not per hour in the client's head. And you put a supervisor phone number on a magnet under every office sink. A 5-year book of monthly accounts and a bench of trained crew leads is a $1 million asset that sleepy competitors will gladly sell to you when they retire. The compounding line here is obvious. Each good month makes the next month's invoices more certain. Bankers like certainty. Now a residential lane, like pool service. Warm markets are full of overextended solo operators and franchises who act like you should be grateful they showed up. The quiet winner builds a tight route, 2 or 3 neighborhoods, scheduled by days. Every stop has a checklist in the app. Test, add, brush, backwash, empty baskets, note issues with photos. Filter cleans and repairs are quoted from a price book, so no tech invents prices in a driveway. You install technology that makes things easier. Digital door hangers.
Filter cleans and repairs are quoted from a price book, so no tech invents prices in a driveway. You install technology that makes things easier. Digital door hangers, GPS time-stamped logs, automatic card on file. You differentiate not by sparkle slogans, but by reliability, communication, and solving problems before the call. Your gross margins live and die on route density, chemical handling, and reducing truck rolls. You turn one route into 2 by taking on a trainee every spring. A clean, well-documented route trading hands at a reasonable multiple of monthly recurring revenue is how these boring businesses mint first-time millionaires who never raise a dime of venture capital. Consider laundromats. They are real estate plus a utility business. The winners buy locations with strong demographics, renters, multifamily density, low in-unit washer penetration, and then run them like mini factories. They invest in efficient machines, sized correctly to the market, design the floor for flow, and install cashless payment systems that lower shrink. They treat cleanliness like marketing and uptime like religion. They add drop-off wash and fold with clear turnaround times and recurring pickup routes for small commercial, salons, gyms, massage studios, so machines stay busy beyond walk-in traffic. They track utilities and negotiate rates like pros. A well-run laundromat throws off steady cash, appreciates with the neighborhood, and can be managed with a part-time attendant and a route driver for pickup and delivery. Most importantly, the owner designs the room so that their absence does not mean chaos. Wealth in laundromats is not the grand opening, it's the 100th Wednesday where every machine works and the floor shines at 7 a.m. Car washes live on traffic counts, ingress and egress, water reclamation, subscription programs, and equipment uptime. The boring play is the monthly unlimited plan that turns weather into less of a villain. You care less about single-ticket spikes and more about membership retention and a clean, friendly experience that makes people happy to scan a tag on a random Tuesday. Equipment maintenance is not defensive here, it is the business. You either love wrenches or hire someone who does, and you schedule downtime like a pilot, not like a gambler. Prices move with inputs. You communicate increases early and tie them to better service. The millionaire car wash owner isn't the one who built the most dramatic tunnel. It's the one who hit 98% uptime and stacked 6,000 memberships at $25 a month while keeping labor as a sane percentage of revenue. Vending routes sound humble and print free cash when designed with care. Location selection is 90% of the game. Manufacturing plants with long shifts, schools with permission, apartment complexes with poor retail access, logistics hubs, car dealerships, and hospitals. The route is a puzzle you solve once and then refine, with par levels set by sales history so you neither run out nor carry inventory costs you don't need. You negotiate commissions so the host is happy and you still eat. You label machines with a phone number that gets answered and a QR code for requests. You treat theft and breakage as part of the budget and avoid high-risk spots. The hidden millionaire move is micro-markets, small, unattended convenience stores in employee break rooms, as well as vending categories like ice vending and water refill stations that bring utility-like durability with fewer SKUs. None of this looks exciting. All of it looks like deposits that arrive even when you're at your kid's recital. Waste and sanitation niches are invisible until you own one. Portable restroom rentals for small construction, grease trap cleaning, medical waste pickup, and document shredding are classic boring lanes.
Each has route density, recurring schedules, sticky customers, and modest competition once you're established. The entry is equipment heavy, which scares dabblers, and compliance matters, which scares hustlers. That's your advantage. You learn the rules, buy and maintain the steel, and run routes like a postal service. Cash flow stacks. You become the person office managers quietly bless because their day goes smoother when you pull up on time. That reputation is the moat. Large players ignore jobs beneath a threshold. You become the specialist who says yes to 1,000 modest accounts they happily leave on the table. Light professional services that support other boring companies sit on the same foundation. Bookkeeping for trades, payroll for small crews, hiring and onboarding services, safety compliance consulting, and back-office workflows can scale to 7 figures with low capital if you build process libraries and use software that makes your value obvious. Your marketing is case studies and referrals. Your operations are SOPs and SLAs with reporting that makes clients feel in control. Your moat is reliability married to a generous communication style. The Millionaire outcome here looks like a portfolio of happy clients, a team of remote professionals who like their Monday, and an owner who works on product and relationships, not on fixing the printer. The question behind every example is, how do I start now without drowning? You start small, specific, and local. Pick one service, one avatar, one tiny geography, and one channel. A pressure washing company launches with driveways and sidewalks in 2 neighborhoods where HOA rules guarantee demand. A commercial cleaning startup launches with 2 dental offices and 1 warehouse within 15 minutes and a documented scope. A pool service launches with 40 accounts built from door-to-door introductions after Saturday morning cleanings on the nicest streets where the trucks are already parked. You sell politely, in person when possible, with a clear offer and a confident close. We're taking on 5 more monthly accounts on Tuesdays in your area. Here's how it works. Here's the price. Here's my license and insurance. And here are 3 neighbors you can text. Would you like us to start next week? You stop waiting to feel brave. You use scripts until you don't need them. Operations decide whether you survive year 1. You design your day around prevention. Morning truck checks prevent breakdowns. Par level checks prevent stockouts. A 10-minute huddle prevents wasted hours. A photo log prevents callbacks and fights. A same-day quoting habit prevents competitors from framing the conversation while you think about fonts. A weekly review prevents drift. Look at booked jobs, average ticket, close rate, gross margin, labor as a percentage of revenue, and 5-star reviews collected. If numbers wobble, you change one thing and watch for a week. You don't install 12 tools and call it improvement. You reduce friction until the day feels boringly smooth. Safety is a profit center. PPE isn't optional. It's insurance against errors that wreck months. Ladders and roofs have rules you wrestle into muscle memory. Trucks have speed limits you enforce with GPS if you must. Chemicals have MSD sheets you can actually find. Electrical panels aren't puzzles. They're a reason to slow down and call someone who knows. You build a culture where raising a hand prevents accidents, and people are praised for stopping a job that felt sketchy. Insurance carriers are your counselors, not your enemies. You ask for their best practices and implement them because lower claims equal lower premiums equal more cash in the business. The millionaire part here is the life you still get to enjoy because you didn't gamble to save 10 minutes. Money management is the least glamorous edge. Cash lives in lanes, operating account, payroll account, tax skim account, and a tiny reserve that grows with the business. You pay vendors early for discounts when offered, but never at the cost of starving payroll. You invoice the day of service and collect cards on file wherever practical so accounts receivable doesn't turn into an accidental loan portfolio. You set payment terms that match your leverage, shorter for residential, clear and enforced for commercial. You offer ACH to reduce fees. You renegotiate merchant rates once a year with a single sheet that compares bids. You have a bookkeeper who closes the month and a simple dashboard that shows cash, AR aging, AP, gross margin, labor percentage, and marketing efficiency. If that sounds like a lot, remember, boring lives in spreadsheets that take 10 minutes because you designed them last month and don't reinvent them today. Scaling is a decision, not an accident. Some businesses should remain small and fat, 1 or 2 trucks, high margins, owner earnings that fund a life you love. Others should grow to a cluster because route density and manager leverage make each additional crew more profitable than the last. The difference is whether adding another unit improves your economics or merely adds headaches. You prove scalability before you hire to the moon. Run a second crew as a pilot, measure repeatability of quality, check whether your sales pipeline can keep them fed without you knocking every door, and test whether your manager can actually manage. When you're ready, you grow in clusters, a second route in the same neighborhoods, a second crew for the same type of client, a second location only when the first is so dialed that you can hand someone a binder and a login and say, "Copy this." Owners go broke expanding chaos. Owners get rich replicating a system that runs without their face on every conversation. Exits in boring businesses are plausible and pleasant when you document your machine. A service company with recurring revenue, low customer concentration, clean books, well-labeled trucks, and SOPs can sell to a regional competitor, a small private equity group doing a roll-up, or to a hungry manager who knows your routes by name. Multiples aren't Silicon Valley, but you don't need them to be. 3 to 5 times sellers' discretionary earnings on $1 million in SDE is a lot of commas for a life of checklists and kindness. Laundromats, car washes, and self-storage trade more like real estate assets, where cap rates and location dominate valuation. The point is this: if you run your business like an asset today, with process, with documentation, with clean books, you own an asset tomorrow that someone else can step into and keep running. That is what Always Makes Millionaires really means. You built something other adults can value, not a personality cult that evaporates when you take a day off. Let's put flesh on this with 3 case stories that look achievable, because they are. A 33-year-old former sales rep bought a small janitorial book from a retiring couple, 7 offices, 3 medical suites, 1 school, all within 13 miles. He financed a portion through the sellers, took an SBA-backed note for the rest, hired 2 crew leads, and kept one of the retiring owners as a part-time quality manager for 6 months. He standardized supplies, renegotiated 1 lopsided contract, added window cleaning as a periodic upsell, and used local services ads to land 3 new accounts within a quarter.
He standardized supplies, renegotiated 1 lopsided contract, added window cleaning as a periodic upsell, and used local services ads to land 3 new accounts within a quarter. Year 2, he hired an operations manager from a competitor who was hungry for a real ladder. Year 3, he tucked in another tiny book from a mom and pop who wanted out. Owner earnings crept past 7 figures without stunts. His secret was not hustle porn. It was answering the phone, paying on time, and sending a supervisor once a quarter to shake hands and ask, "What's one thing we can do better here?" A 30-year-old couple in a warm market started a pool service with 40 accounts they won door-to-door in 2 neighborhoods they knew well. They bought a used truck, solid test kits, and set up card-on-file billing. They ran 1 route together, learned the rhythm, and wrote SOPs from week 1. They added filter cleans at fixed prices and taught themselves basic repairs from manufacturer courses. By the next spring, they hired and trained a tech to run the Tuesday-Thursday route, then a second tech, then a part-time office manager who became the glue. Their scheduling app showed photos and readings for every visit. Their trucks were clean and their uniforms were decent. They avoided the temptation to sprawl. Route density kept fuel and time waste low. Customer churn stayed under 5% because their communication was better than the industry's norm. By year 4, they had 4 routes and an offer from a regional player who wanted to buy their book at a healthy multiple of monthly revenue. They could sell or hold. That's what optionality looks like in the real world. A 42-year-old mechanic bought a 2-bay self-serve car wash with an in-bay automatic in a town with strong traffic and no flashy competition nearby. The site was tired, the bones were good. He rehabbed the equipment, installed a card reader that took tap, started a simple subscription plan, added a vacuums and air station, relit the lot, and put cameras on the site. He kept the place spotless and added signage that explained the wash process instead of yelling. He kept hours consistent and played the same gentle playlist every day, so the place felt safe. He partnered with a local dealership for a wash credit for new car buyers. The wash didn't go viral. It went reliable. The subscription base crept up to 2,000 members. A few years later, a small chain made him an offer he liked. He sold, rolled some equity into the buyer, and took a sabbatical. He paid for with a boring exit from a boring business that he ran beautifully. You might be thinking this all sounds achievable for someone else. That's a normal sentence. The way through it is to make the first week small and real.
Write a one-page plan tonight with these 5 lines. The service you will offer this quarter, the neighborhood or industry segment you will serve first, the price floor you will not break, the script you will use on the phone and at the door, and the 10 names you will call tomorrow. Put 2 hours on your calendar for field work. Drive the area, note competitors, look for properties with neglected needs, and talk to the human beings who make decisions. Order the basic gear. Do a free or discounted job for one respected person in the neighborhood and take before and after photos that would convince your skeptical friend, not your Instagram. Ask for a review. Ask for 2 referrals. Repeat until you have 20 accounts. Boring means you obey the calendar more than your feelings. That's the game. Let's talk about the myths that keep people from starting and the truths that keep people rich. The first myth is that you need a brand before you need a booking. You don't. You need a phone number that gets answered, a name that sounds like a real business, and insurance documents you can email on request. The brand will be the quality of your Tuesday for the first year. The second myth is that you need a unique angle to justify your existence. You don't. You need to show up, be kind, clean up, and charge enough to keep doing it. Reliability is rarer than genius. The third myth is that the barrier to entry means you'll be crushed by competition. The truth is that the barrier to boredom is high. Most competitors quit on the paperwork, on the hiring, on the morning huddles, on the same-day quotes, on the weekly review. You win by outboring them. Risk is real, so manage it like a pro. In year 1, keep your personal burn low so the business can breathe. Don't buy the second truck until the first one is booked enough to pay for the second without a sigh. Don't sign a long warehouse lease unless your routes demand it and your equipment justifies it. Keep your merchant reserve adequate. Keep a month of payroll in the business bank account. Keep your personal emergency fund intact. If you finance equipment, match the term to the life of the asset so you're not paying for a dead machine. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Culture is a secret operating system. Treat customers like adults, treat your staff like family with boundaries, treat vendors like partners, and treat yourself like the asset the business can't replace yet. That means rest, food that isn't from gas stations, and a phone that goes off sometimes. Burnout looks heroic until it looks like a sale, at a discount because you can't stand your own creation. Millionaires in boring businesses look from the outside unstressed. The inside story is that they built a life with margin and a business with rhythm. The money followed the rhythm, not the other way around. After a few years, you'll have options that the algorithm never promised you. You can hold and harvest, letting owner earnings fund real estate you like and kids' futures you care about. You can professionalize further, hiring a GM and stepping into acquisitions of tuck-ins to deepen your moat. You can sell part or all of it to someone who values checklists and cash flow, and you can stay on as a mentor for a season. You can pivot into adjacent services your clients ask for because you've earned the right to be in their budget. The fun part of boring businesses is not the first invoice. It's the 10th year when you're less necessary than you used to be and more respected than you expected to be. That feeling does not come from drama. It comes from daily, almost invisible competence. If you want to do something tonight that tilts your odds toward that 10th year, do 3 ridiculously simple things. Call 3 owners in the lane you're considering and ask them one respectful question. If you could go back to month 1, what would you do in week 1 instead? 2 will tell you something worth more than any course. Knock on 3 doors with obvious need and say, "I'm looking to earn 1 account on this block this week. Could I quote you?" 1 will say yes if you don't try to be clever. And write the price floor on a sticky note and put it where you'll see it when you're tired. You will be tempted to discount. Don't. You're building a business, not buying friends. The headline promised boring businesses that always make millionaires. The truth you can carry is better than hyperbole. Choose a service that solves a weekly pain. Verify demand and price with calls and a drive, not with vibes. Build a simple offer and a simple script. Price from unit economics, not fear. Market where intent lives, and answer the phone. Hire adults and treat them like adults. Systematize everything you touch. Insure, separate accounts, and pay yourself on a schedule. Grow by copying what already works. Keep your life cheap enough that you can say no to stupid deals. Document so well that someone else could run it, whether or not you ever sell. Do this for a handful of seasons, and you will look up, unglamorous and wealthy, with Tuesdays that feel like yours. That is the quiet promise of boring businesses. They don't always make millionaires. They often make adults with choices. Given the choice, I'll take that over a balcony photo any day.